like it was rung with authority. Well, welcome to the first Coronado Rotary meeting of April 2023. I will be your captain today, and well, I'll be the first officer. Our captain is actually here, but I'll be running the show. We'll start with Pat Stark and the pledge and invocation in inverse order.
Thank you, Mr. President-to-be. If your life was a commercial, what would you be advertising? Think about that. What would you be advertising? Would you be telling the truth, or would you be telling your truth? Would it be fair to you, or would it be fair to everybody involved? Would your advertisement build goodwill amongst everybody you know, or just among you? Would your advertising benefit not just you, but everyone? What we do advertises who we are. And as Rotarians, we should always focus on our creed, because it is not what you believe, it is what you do. So let our actions be what we are and be an example to all around us as to what they could be. Turn towards the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, Dan Orr for visiting Rotarians and guests.
All right. I'm sorry I was late. So if any of you visiting Rotarians snuck by me, please make yourself known to us. Otherwise, we will do guest of Rotarians, of which I have the very first. I'd like to introduce my special guest, Dave Campbell, call sign Soup.
Fellow Rotarians, I'd like to have you welcome my neighbor. She's considering joining Rotary Club of Coronado. Please welcome Julie Lull.
Is that Dan Gensler back there? Oh.
President-to-be, Bob Rutherford, are you there? Oh, you're hiding. Okay. I'd like to introduce somebody who will not be a stranger to, he's a prospective member. He's here for the first time, but he helped put up flags a year ago for us on about 3 occasions. And so he's back to try and make it a little more permanent. This is Jim Taylor.
President-elect Bob, special guest, Andrew Gade. And then we have a guest, San Diego Rotaract from San Diego State, Sean Mwangi, yes.
All right, Gensler.
All right. I want to introduce to you a new team member to our organization, Brandon Mather, and a special guest here today at Rotary.
Welcome. I have a distinguished guest, fellow Rotarians, President Luann and President-to-be Rutherford. I'd like to introduce Karol Mueller.
President-elect, or President, I would like to introduce a very good friend of mine. She is a retired naval aviator, and she also just recently retired from the Padres. And she's the reason we have our speaker here today. So I'd like to introduce Jeannie Gronenfeld.
All you presidents, fellow Rotarians, friends, I'd like to introduce my neighbor and friend, J.F. Poupeau, who is visiting us here. He's a retired oil executive.
Karol.
All the presidents and all the Rotarians, I would like to introduce for the last time today, my special guest, Brenda. She will be inducted today.
think that's it. No, there's more. But wait, there's more.
President-elect, thank you. I'd like to introduce my guest, Captain Jimmy DiMatteo, retired naval aviator. He's a longtime Coronado Rotarian, probably known by many of you. Jimmy will be our speaker on the 19th.
Guido. Get in. We're done. Bob, it's all yours.
That's half the room. Well done, past President Dan. All right, we've got a lot of red badgers here today too. Let me see if I can see where they're all sitting. Where's John Jacobson? There, he had his back to me. And Sara Cheverton is having her last day here as a red badger and will be a full-fledged member here shortly. Joe Malloy is running the audio visual for us here today. Joe. Jerry Brown, the former naval aviator, not the former governor, is here. And Arlene Inch, where's Arlene? There she is, okay. And Rena Clancy. Oh, she's all the way in the back. Hi, Rena. Okay, fantastic. Okay, we're gonna have the announcement slide up here now, and we are going to take an opportunity. Oh, come on out, Megan. Okay. I'd like to introduce Megan, who is actually Ginger Cox's daughter, and I know her really well because I eat her food all the time here. But it's a special day for Megan, and we're going to sing Happy Birthday, Megan. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Megan. Happy birthday to you. Yeehaw. All right. Okay. Announcements. We took a couple of them off from last week, but coming on Saturday, our annual beach cleanup. So come out and join some of the weather for that. Did I say annual? You heard annual, but I think I said week or monthly. There we go. Our monthly beach cleanup is going to be on Saturday. Thanks for keeping me honest here, team. Feed the Needy. So Mary and Bob Griffin, if you want to participate in that, are the points of contact. Our social at Karol McClelland's house will be next week on Thursday, the 13th. And Rotarians at Work coming up at the end of the month on Saturday, April 29th. And on that note, in particular, on each of your tables, there are sign-up sheets for that, and Rainier will be picking those up. So please pick one of the venues, put your X next to your name on your choice, and come join us on Saturday, the 29th for that. The other note there is that we've got sign-up sheets for the food pantry. So the food bank committee has put those out there. They're looking for maybe just pick 3 items and add those to your shopping list and bring those in to donate if you would. Last note is if you're on Wi-Fi here, would you mind if you've got a cell phone on that, if you can turn it off, that would be great. And that'll help get our connectivity where it needs to be. Marv Hines.
So your environment committee wants to give you some simple ideas on how you can help the environment. You're entertaining, you need to have water, and President Luann has made sure that that you shouldn't use plastic bottles. What's the answer? Boxed water. On your table, you have some samples of boxed water. You can buy boxed water or another similar brand, Just Water, right here in Coronado at High Tide, at the Northgate Market in the barrio, at the CVS and IB has both brands. So if you need to serve water, don't serve it in plastic bottles, serve it in boxes. A public service announcement from your environment committee.
Hey, thank you, Marv. All right. Next slide, just weekly events, recap on that golf tournament. Thank everybody here that had a piece of that. And I think it was a all hands event, especially If you didn't have a chance to see Joe's video coming in here, that really does a nice media wrap up of it. Great. The first numbers we got on this, I think we've cleared 42,000 net fundraising on that. So. Next slide, please. And on the heels of Marv's comments there, we've joined together with other service groups here in town, and these guys went out and did some fine work at Tidelands for the cleanup there. No fooling. Okay, we have an induction for Brenda Jones now. Suzanne Pop will join us for that.
Acting President Bob and other presidents, members of the board, members and guests. Today, we are pleased to induct a new member into our prestigious club. Let me introduce Brenda Jones. She's sponsored by Stephanie Anderson, and her classification is music education. Brenda, Rotary is a global network of over 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers. These people see the world where people unite and take action. We solve real problems. We are committed and tenacious. Since 1905, Rotarians have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Brenda, we welcome you, and we have high hopes for your dedication to our Rotary motto, service above self. As you attend our meetings, be sure to study the four-way test and live it in your daily life. Everyone, please rise and give a big round of applause for our newest member, Brenda Jones. Please be seated. Brenda, so you were asked to join Rotary. What inspired you to say yes?
Well, like everyone here, I just love helping other people and meeting new people and making the community around me a better place. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
All right. And just so people have something to talk to you about, tell us 3 interests or hobbies or just 3 things about you that you want other people to know.
I love anything to do with music. I love traveling and learning about the world around me. And I really want to learn how to play golf.
That's awesome. All right. Thank you, ladies, and welcome.
All right, so we've got a new red badger that just came in, and we've got a new one that's just about to peel that red sticker off her badge. And Sarah, if you join us up here and tell us who you are.
Good afternoon, President-elect Bob, President Luann, and fellow Rotarians. So I'll just tell you a little bit about me. I've kind of lived by 4 big things, and that is family, friends. I worked really hard at my job. I have a passion for sports, and now I want to become a good volunteer. And that's a key reason for becoming a Rotarian. So I grew up in Claremont, California, the one that's near LA, not the one around here. My dad was a pediatrician and my mom was a teacher. And the one thing my dad, my brother, and I did a ton of was sports, and started my passion for sports and competitive nature. And then for college, I went to Duke, and Krzyzewski was there the first year that I got there. So you can imagine life was fun. So it was all parties around basketball. And then I went on to graduate school in marketing and finance. Slide. Thank you. And then for my professional life, I moved to Chicago and I had a lot of really fun jobs. My most fun job was working for Wilson Sporting Goods, and I worked in golf. And I was the brand manager for golf clubs, which I resourced to China, Taiwan, and Korea. So that was fun and had global responsibility. And then I became the director of golf balls. And when I was with golf balls, I got to do a TV spot with Michael Jordan and John Daly, which was really fun. So I had lots of fun stuff. And And then I also worked for Life Fitness, Life Cycles, health equipment, cardio and strength. And I was director of marketing there. And then I was also the director of marketing for Motorola cellular phones. So with global responsibility. So I had lots of fun stuff. And you want to go to the next slide? Oh, and I retired about a year ago. So very happy. Now I'm having fun. I just want to introduce my family to you. Big part of my life. I have twins. I have Michael, who's on the bottom over there, and he's at Colorado State, and he's going to become a game warden. And Molly, moved and is going to USD, which I love having her close. And she's got a summer internship at Qualcomm in finance. So she's going to do well. And then my youngest, Liza, is at Cathedral and will be as an assistant lifeguard. So she'll see you down at the beach this summer. Next slide. So just what am I going to be doing now? So like Brenda, I am learning to become better at golf. And Bob's great and Pat's great tournament was a great start with that. That's such a fun thing. I just encourage anybody else to go because best ball is the best way to play golf. So, and then I love to cycle and hopefully we'll start joining a club to do that. I love to travel. Just kind of went to Madrid and Paris with my girls because my daughter was over in Madrid. And then I want to become a really good volunteer person. And since I've been here, I've started to know people and make great friendships. And I have a lot of great mentors. That's what I found. You'll find this, Brenda, is people come and ask you to do things, and being on volunteer committees is so much fun. And there's just an amazing group of generous people here. And it's so exciting. So that's it. That's me. So
Thanks, Sarah. And what Sarah didn't tell you was that she carried our foursome, so kept us from being absolute last. Thank you for that, Sarah. Okay. Okay, I have one of my favorite supports is San Pasqual, and if Debbie Syverson would join me up here, we have a special presentation for her. For everybody out in TV land, I need that. So I'll repeat that it gives me great pleasure to present on behalf of the Rotary Club of Coronado this check to San Pasqual Academy, one of my favorite places to go during Rotarians at Work Day, and it's a real special place. And I think everything that they've got going for them right now is due in large part to what you've done for that organization. So thank you very much.
Well, Rotary, our club has been a part of the lives of the kids up at the Academy for, over 15 years. That's how long. And so the history back up just a little bit here. We have counted on Coronado and Coronado Rotarians from way back. Let's go back to the time when Tom Smizek was mayor in Coronado. And we had that 2007 fires that came right through the campus, and we had evacuated the kids to Green Oak Ranch. Tom Smizek calls me on the phone. He says, Debbie, what do you need? He sent 6 Coronado big trucks filled with supplies, followed me up the freeway to the Green Oak Ranch so that we could have all these supplies for the kids while we were keeping them there until the fires got under control and we could get back on campus. That's a big one. Obviously, all of you, raise your hand, how many of you have come up to the Academy to work in the fields? Well, there you go. The kids are very upset with me right now because we are not doing the agricultural Rotarians at Work Day because they love coming out and working with you. Because first of all, the floods and fires and everything, but the rain that we got this last go around just really did us in. On top of that, I've got to figure out a way to get fencing around a couple of acres at the Academy because the deer are killing us. And I'm very cranky because one of my favorite things on the campus is when we grow our watermelon. And what happens is the deer come along, they kick it open, They eat a little bit, they go to the next one, kick it open and keep moving along there. So I've got to figure out something to do with that. So as soon as we can get a handle on that, we will go forward. As you know, you have been tremendous supporters of the Academy when we were going through the horrendous lawsuit where we had to sue the state and the county, and the kids stepped up and said, don't take our home away. We won, as you know, and the kids are in full force now going forward. We have 15 graduates this year. They just went on their college trips to visit a lot of their colleges. And so they're very excited about that. The reason they are not here today is because they are going through all the testing that is required by the school part. So I'm sorry about that, but real quick, they gave me notes. And I'm good at taking their notes. So just real quick here. First of all, they said, thank you for supporting them during the whole transition that we had to go through on the campus. And then they said, thank you, Rotarians, for all you do for us for the past several years on Rotarians at Work Day. They really enjoy that with you. Also, they did a couple of personal thank yous here. Chris Kleber isn't here. Dr. Kleber isn't here, right? One of our students had a serious problem with TMJ and all that. Chris Kleber stepped up and got him a lot of help, which we have had a lot of help in the past too from our wonderful past president, Dr. Suzanne Pop, too. Thank you, Suzanne. Also for the scholarships, because the funds you gave just now, we are going to be helping them with scholarships to go on, whether it's a trade school, a 2-year, a 4-year. We even have a lot of our kids now that have their master's degree. And one of our students, Montana, called me and said, Debbie, I'd really like to get my doctorate. So we're going to be looking. I said, you go for it and we'll find a way. So that just gives you a little bit about the Academy. You all have been such tremendous supporters, both personally, financially, everything. So on behalf of all the kids up at the Academy, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. You know, I was thinking we may have a solution to that deer problem. If every Rotarian in here applied for a deer tag this year and put her phone number on it, we'll be, what do you think? Yeah. Just trying to help the environment, you know? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's with great pleasure. I'll turn the mic over to Jean Marie Bond now, who will introduce our guest speaker, Tom Seidler, and tell us a whole bunch of stuff about our favorite baseball team.
Yes. Well, I'm really excited today to be introducing our guest speaker. I know they call them the San Diego Padres, but given the number of Padres who live right here in Coronado and hang out at the Henry, I'd like to start calling them the Coronado Padres. So today, I'm particularly proud to be introducing our speaker. He's been in professional baseball for 31 years, so imagine the stars that he has met. This is his 9th season with the Padres, his 7th season as their senior vice president of community affairs, community and military affairs. And he was also very instrumental in founding the Padres Pedal of the Cause. And so it's with great pleasure we have our hometown heroes represented today by Tom Seidler.
I'm going to stand here so I can keep an eye on this presentation. Before I begin, trivia question. Tickets to the April 17th game, good seats, scout seats. Jeannie knows what I'm talking about. Who, everyone knows about Jackie Robinson, broke the Major League color barrier in 1947. At that point in time, Major League Baseball was only as far west as St. Louis. So a year later, somebody became the Jackie Robinson of the West Coast. Who was that person, that player? Yeah, you cannot answer. No, I'll give you a hint. He was from San Diego, went to San Diego High, went to San Diego State, played for the San Diego Padres. First black player in the Pacific Coast League, 1948, before Tony. Anybody? Before Nate. So nobody knows. Well, I'll get into it. Why we're celebrating this man, but I have to give away 4 tickets. So I'll throw another question at you guys. Let's see. Well, the Padres set a record 2 nights ago. We won a game with back-to-back home runs in the 9th inning, trailing by a run, hit back-to-back home runs. Who hit the back-to-back home runs? Dahl and Kim, you got it. All right, so we'll talk afterwards. I'll give you 4 tickets to April 17th. That was quick. Were you at the game or were you watching? Were you at the game or were you watching? Yeah. Well, and not only do most of our players live in Coronado, but so does our manager, Bob Melvin. So you guys have cornered the market on Padres. Well, why don't we go to the next slide, please? And there's, I think following this, there's a video that hopefully will play.
So the Padres take the field for the first time in 2022 at Petco Park. Will Myers settles underneath it, and the Padres win. High drive, deep left center field.
There, and Manny rips it through the left side of base hit. The 1500th of his major league career.
Alfaro grounds it into left field. A throw. It's late. Padres win.
Let's go, San Diego.
Alfaro hits one to deep left center field. That's the ball game. Brandon Drury now plays. It's Slam Diego. And a high fly ball to deep right field. Juan Soto has left the yard. First time in a Padres uniform. Up the middle into center field. Walk-off win.
Who was the most losing is overrated. All of the winners that hang in my second year, we got frustrated. We got to come steady. Then he hits that one hard. Fast Lindor into center field. Darvish hesitates, fires, and he gets Escobar. It's carrying, and it carries on. And Kim just reaches out and slaps that into right field. Pulls that fair ball. We're swinging a bit. Musgrove picks up the punch out, and he hits that fair down the baseline. San Diego will sail into the division series. San Diego. 1-2. Here. And he's and a line drive into deep right center field. This time Thompson can't make the catch. Pitch. And a ground ball chopped to the right side. Freeman reaching for it. Can't make the play. Rolls out to second base. The run will score. Grounded towards third base. It gets by Muncy. And a fair ball down the left field line. Grisham's on his way home. He will score. Him to second. An RBI double in a 1-run game. Soto with a line drive into right field. That'll get down. And the game is tied at 3. Cronenworth swings. Lines it into center field. That's a base hit. It's 5-3. 0-2. Freeman in the dirt. And the ball game is over. The series is over. Leaving stop, throws from his knees in time. The Padres hit back-to-back homers. Kyle Schwarber turns around, watches it go. Manny Machado attacks the first pitch.
I just want to thank the city of San Diego and our fans. You know, there's 26 players on the roster, 28, whatever it is. They were almost like a roster piece for us, and they drove us and inspired us.
Yeah, obviously a fun ride last year. Probably the 3rd most successful season in Padres history. Obviously in 84 and 98, we made the World Series, but I think it might be tied for second because we beat the Dodgers along the way to get there. And we had to win 2 rounds. In 84, we only had to win 1 round to get to the World Series. So last year, we would have had to win 3 rounds to get to the World Series. So we won 2 and came up short against the Phillies. But, you know, with the added star players that AJ Preller has added to the roster, the community has really responded. The Padres historically were somewhere between 20th and 28th in attendance. We've climbed to the top 5, as you see last year, averaging 36,000 per game. Next slide. And based on percentage of capacity, we were second. You know, the Dodgers have 56,000 in Chavez Ravine, so they can always probably beat us in overall attendance. But as far as percentage of seats filled, we were right behind the defending champion Braves. Next slide. And again, you can see just the growth in attendance over the years. That shows the 18 years we've played baseball since Petco Park was built. Obviously, we had no fans in 2020, so that's not on the slide, but we set a record. I'm sorry, we just missed the record last year, just coming up short of the inaugural season at Petco Park, but eclipsing 3 million fans for only the second time. Next slide. And this year we're poised to do even better. We had 26 sellouts last year, the most in franchise history. Next slide. And we were just rated last week by USA Today for the third time as the #1 ballpark in America. It really is, you know, when Petco Park was built, they built it as more than a ballpark. Obviously, Padres games are housed there, but we've done a great job with our staff there, keeping it fresh, reinvesting money year after year, and turning it more into a concert venue, a place for corporate parties, charity events. It really is active. There really is no down season for the ballpark itself. Next slide. Yeah, that just talks about the postseason. Now every game is sold out. The ratings were off the charts. Next slide. Special events. Next slide. As I mentioned, how it's more than a ballpark. This, I think, might be a video if it'll play. It shows just some of the other events that are housed at Petco Park. Hard to believe, but all those pictures and videos are at Petco Park or right outside of Petco on J Street, which sometimes will expand the footprint of the ballpark to do corporate events. But you saw golf. We do an event where you can play 9 holes of golf at Petco Park. We put makeshift greens on the field. So you guys who were talking about your golf game, you can practice at Petco Park in the fall. The Ferris wheel, some of these corporate events, they have trapeze artists, Ferris wheels, but again, a really busy venue year round now. Next slide. Gallagher Square. So what we used to call Park of the Park, now it's called Gallagher Square, the park area beyond left and center field. That's like a small, intimate 5,000 to 10,000 capacity concert venue. And you can see we've got 31 shows there this year, in addition to a handful of full venue stadium shows. Next slide. And for the first time we had football there. We almost had football in December of 2021, but the UCLA canceled at the 11th hour. We didn't get that game played, but we did play last year to a crowd of about 40,000. It ends up being a terrific venue for football. You can see the field kind of runs right into the video board, and the sidelines are pretty darn good for football. And it just gives a better atmosphere for kind of pre and post game activities with all the bars and restaurants and the gas lamp in East Village relative to what Mission Valley had with their football stadium. Next slide. You can see some of the main show here. Morgan Wallen is a big country artist. He has back-to-back sold out shows in July, but there's other full venue shows as well as shows out at Gallagher Square. Next slide. Community impact. So this is the part of the Padres that I oversee. Next slide. Again, supporting youth baseball, softball is one of our biggest priorities. We do a jersey program called Future Padres. We provide 20,000 jerseys and caps for softball visors to youth baseball, softball leagues throughout the county. That helps those leagues save money, give scholarships, reinvest money into snack bars and fields. That's our biggest. It's about a $1 million subsidy of Little League and youth baseball, softball around the county. Our Padres baseball, softball camps, we started that in 2019. And participation, especially during COVID, skyrocketed as families look for safe activities outdoors. And this year we're setting new records with kids playing that. That's a bit of a moneymaker for us. We turn around and use the money we make from that camp to fund our Padres Rookie League program. That's a free baseball program run by YMCA sites and MCRD around the county. Kids can play free baseball. They get a free glove, free jersey, free hat, and play free baseball and softball throughout the summer in underserved areas throughout the county. Next slide. As you know, the Padres are really proud to be the team of the military. We started that program in the mid-90s when Captain Jack Ensch became our full-time employee. Jeannie Groneveld held that distinguished position for 2 years, and now Captain Johnny Nilsson holds that position. But it's been important to us, especially in San Diego, and obviously in Coronado, you probably do it as well as anybody, but everybody's really proud to be the home of such a big military footprint, especially with the Navy and the Marines. We try to do new things every year, not just the ceremonial, the flyovers and the pregame ceremonies, which are outstanding, but try to do more to support military in need, whether it's enlisted families, supporting them while mom or dad might be deployed, or veterans in need. So you can see a few of the things we do there. We have a scholarship program where we provide scholarships to kids from military families. We do free baseball, softball clinics on bases now. We did one last year, Camp Pendleton, that Jeannie oversaw. And we have a really fun game. We get our alumni, Trevor Hoffman and Randy Jones, and a number of our alumni to play. It used to be our alumni against military, active duty military on bases, but the youth of the military generally kicked our butts. So now we do mixed teams, but it's a lot of fun. You know, it's special to see the mutual respect between our players, current and former players, and the men and women in uniform. You know, there's just a great respect between those two groups of folks with different uniforms. Next slide. The Padres Foundation. So about 5 years ago, when the Padres started our 50-50 raffle games and started bringing in decent amount of money from that fundraiser, we started a 501c3, and we've really expanded the program in recent years. So the Johnny Ritchie scholarships, this gets back to the question that nobody could answer. Johnny Ritchie was born in San Diego, went to San Diego High, San Diego State, played for the San Diego Padres of the Pacific Coast League, which was the highest level of professional baseball on the West Coast. He was the only Black player on the field for much of that season. So we celebrate him following in Jackie Robinson's footsteps, being the man who broke the color barrier on the West Coast. He passed away, but we celebrate what he did 75 years ago, especially this year with the 75th anniversary of doing what he did. And we have a scholarship program where we give out now 10 scholarships a year to first generation San Diego kids going to college, first generation college students from underserved areas, and to partner with Reality Changers, who provides support on top of the financial scholarship. But that's a great new program and a good way to keep Johnny Ritchie's name alive. On April 17th, the game that I've got your tickets, we're going to wear the 1948 PCL jerseys, the old red, white, blue jerseys. We're going to wear those for one game, have the players sign them and auction those off to help fund the scholarship program. We try to do things all throughout the county and down into Tijuana. We didn't do much during COVID, but we've done now the last 3 years, built a home down in Tijuana for a needy family. And we do free clinics down there. And we'll be playing baseball games in Mexico City on April 29th and 30th. We're moving 2 of our home games. We're playing 2 games against Los Gigantes from San Francisco in Mexico City. So those will be the first ever Major League Baseball games in Mexico City. Next slide. Again, and I mentioned in February, we've always done a fan fest where we invite the community to come to Petco Park and get ready for the season. In February, players are there. This year, capitalizing on the fun season we had last year and all the star power, we took players out into the community on the day before Fan Fest. So on Friday, we did surprise visits to schools and charities and kind of iconic locations around San Diego. And it was so much fun to see military bases. This is a group that Jeannie led, taking Fernando Tatis Jr., who, even though he hasn't played a game in 18 months, is a huge star, especially with kids. Next slide. This just shows some of the visits we made, and it was really great to see the love between the community and the players. Next slide. Dinner on the Diamond. This is our biggest fundraising event for our foundation, May 18th. It's the only event like it. All the players attend and the coaching staff. Each player hosts a table. You have a first-class dinner on the field at Petco Park. Players and their wives all dress up. We have live entertainment afterwards, but if you're interested, you can talk to me after, or again, visit padres.com/dinner. But one of a kind event with our players. We did it for the first time last year, and we'll do it again May 18th. Next slide. Next slide. On the heels of that community tour, we did have Fan Fest, and 150,000 tickets were claimed. I think about 40,000 showed up. So again, just an indication of the enthusiasm for the team this year. Next slide. That was somebody called that like the $1 billion photo based on those player salaries. But the four big stars, Tatis, Soto, Machado, and Bogarts. Our new player, Xander Bogaerts, has got off to a great start so far this year. But you can see just the mob of people out at Gallagher Square. Next slide. So that's where our season ticket base is now, 23,500. It's an all-time record for the franchise, and it's capped. We now have a waiting list for the first time in franchise history to get season tickets. Next slide. Next slide. And our projected average attendance is 40,000. So when we hit 40,000, that's a sellout. We have 40,000 seats at Petco, and then about 4,000 lawn seats. But so when you hit 40,000, we call that a sellout. We're going to average 40,000 this year. So it's going to be quite an extraordinary atmosphere at Petco Park throughout the year. We opened the season with 4 sellouts. We now think we're going to hit 50 plus sellouts this year. Next slide. Those are just some of the fun giveaways and wearables we'll have this year, capitalizing again on the star power. Next slide. They changed the schedule. Major League Baseball now is what's called a balanced schedule, where we will play every major league team every year, and we'll play every major league team at home at least over a 2-year stretch. So we'll get the Red Sox here this year. We'll get the Yankees here next year. So every other year, you'll see the Angels come into town, which is nice, and vice versa. We'll go there every other year. So we won't play the Dodgers, Giants, Rockies, and Diamondbacks 19 times. We'll play them 13, but we'll get to see a lot more of the teams and a lot more of the young star players around the game more often. Next slide. Next slide. I mentioned the games in Mexico, so we'll be there April 29th and 30th against the Giants. Next slide. City Connect. So we unveiled these jerseys last year. Nike does a program with Major League Baseball where they have teams work with Nike to design a different look than your normal, in our case, the normal brown and gold. And they did this look kind of based on the Caribbean and Latin American flavor of the players in the game now, as well as the binational region that San Diego plays in. And the players have really loved it. Kids love it. We can't keep the stuff in stock. It's a very different look than the brown and gold, but we wear it on home on Fridays. So when you go to games, generally at home on Fridays, you'll see us wear those kind of fun pink and mint green uniforms. Next slide. So this is our roster for the year. Next slide. First of all, some of the new rules. So the pitch clock, big difference. You might have seen Manny Machado got called out on strikes yesterday, argued it, got kicked out of the game. That's the bad side of it. The good side is Game times have gone from about 3 hours and 10 minutes to about 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's about 30 minutes quicker for us and around the sport. We had a game Sunday, 2 hours and 3 minutes, our quickest game in over 10 years. So I think the pace of games speeding up will help, especially young fans. You know, it's the same 9 innings, it's the same action, but in a condensed time frame. So less dead time. The bases are bigger to encourage stolen bases, and there's limits both on the shift and the number of times pitchers can step off or throw to first. And that's to encourage more base hits and more base running. And base running, we were on the bad side of it yesterday. The D-backs stole a lot of bases on us yesterday, but base running's up about threefold through the first week of the season. That, you know, that's an exciting part of the game that had been less of a focus in recent years. Next slide. You can see the roster there. Again, the big 4 stars. So we have Bogarts, Machado, Tatis, and now Grisham. I'm sorry, now Cronenworth signed to long-term contracts for at least 8 years. So you'll see, you know, those players year in, year out. That's one thing the Padres were never successful at, was other than Tony Gwynn and Trevor Hoffman keeping star players, you know, for 5-10 years or more. So we're excited that our fans will know that they come to the games in 5 years and 7 years, they'll see a lot of those same players. Next slide. Again, we've been without Joe Musgrove, kind of our co-ace. At the start of the year, he had a small injury in spring training, but he may make his debut on this road trip. In fact, he may make it in New York, where they accused him of having some sticky stuff on his ear. So that'll be a fun game to watch. He won that game and got his revenge, and hopefully he'll get it again. Next slide. I think this might be just a closing video.
So everybody thinks it's just big market here, big market there.
There's the bridge.
But the Padres are raising their hand and saying, we are players here, and this is the latest shot across the bow. San Diego.
When you start to look at this team, they look like the best team in the National League.
The San Diego Padres are headed to the championship series. It's our house right here, baby. Let's go.
That's our slogan for the year, bring the gold, playing off one of our colors, and, you know, hopefully getting just a little bit further in the postseason this year. Any questions I can answer from anybody? Yes.
Welcome, and we're really pleased that you're here. This club has had a pretty close relationship with the San Diego Padres over the years, and so has our district, 5340. There was a place up in Petco Park called the Rotary Park. It's in the upper right field. It's not a park, it's concrete, but it's like a park. And back when we purchased this club, one of those flagpoles up there that honors the military, and ours happens to be the U.S. Army. We tried to get the Navy, but Brawley beat us to it, of all places. But anyway, I wonder if Rotary Park is still up there, and we wonder if we are still honoring the military with those flagpoles, one of which has Coronado Rotary Club on it. You have an answer?
It's still, yeah, we still have Rotary. We call it Rotary Flag Court, but the emblems are still there. I haven't seen them in the last year, maybe. They may need to be polished a little bit, but yeah, very much still there. Yeah. Thank you for doing that years ago.
First of all, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. The Padres do so much that a lot of people don't even know about. For example, when the All-Stars were here, you called me because I had asked for help for our softball field that was underwater. And so between you and Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, I got the call. You guys came out, everything was renovated. And Rob Manfred said that when he was here, he said, this is the first softball field they had ever done in the history of Major League Baseball. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
That was a great project for us to do.
And the second point, real quick, again, thank you for the furniture. When you were remodeling all the owner suites, I got the call and said you had all this furniture. So I took the furniture and we put it all over the campus at Pasqual Academy. So thank you.
That's great. I'll have to pay a visit and get back up there.
Tom, I will sponsor you for a day at the Coronado Island Beer Club. If you can tell me the number of the membership of Manny Machado.
Manny Machado has a membership number at the beer club.
He does.
I'll guess 13 since that's his number.
413.
Oh, 413. All right.
You were close.
Do I get half
Only-
credit?
Only
Half the beer?
400 off. I'll still sponsor you though.
Thank you.
Quick question. When you had the pictures of the pitchers up there, looked like you had 18 pitchers. Is that right? I mean, when I was growing up, Warren Spahn and these guys pitched 25 complete games in
Yeah.
a year. Is that right? You have 18 pitchers?
Well, we have 13 on our roster at a time. We have 26-man roster. Generally, we carry 13 pitchers, 13 position players. But there's other guys in the minors that as injuries happen or whatnot that will get up here. So it showed kind of some of our AAA guys that are expected to come up at some point this year. A few of them that we're seeing now because, Musgrove opened the season on the disabled list and Robert Suarez, our kind of 8th inning guy, open on the disabled list, Andrew Pomeranz. So, there's already three of those, beyond 13 guys that have pitched already. But you're right, the complete game and all that's a lost art. Now pitchers go 6 and we applaud them and, there's still work to be done. Yeah.
Tom, I've got a question. Can you talk a little bit about the Padres baseball school in the Dominican Republic? And if the Padres have ever thought of a series in Santo Domingo, say against the Red Sox?
Yeah, it's a good question. So Major League Baseball controls all games that are played out of the country, except for Toronto. They have their thing, but they are planning to play games of the Dominican, I think, in about 3 years. This year it's in Mexico City. They're playing a game in London. I think the Cubs and Cardinals are playing in London. And next year they're going to be playing games in Asia, which we might be involved with. And so that's a good move by Major League Baseball to expand the footprint. You have 81 home games. You could move a couple somewhere to help grow the game internationally. But they've never done that. They've never played regular season games in the Dominican Republic, but I look for that probably in about 3 years.
Hi, Tom. Welcome. Thanks for being here today. My name is Michelle Gilmore, and I just want to acknowledge you also because this last year, the Padres graciously extended tickets to all of the Coronado Unified School District staff and hosted a game for them +1. And so that was a really generous initiative. And we're just so appreciative of your support across our community.
Thank you.
And my question, I do have a question. And my question is, who's your favorite player?
Who's your favorite child? You can't answer that. But I will say this. I mean, my favorite players generally are the guys that are most willing to get involved in the community. And of the new guys that we have this year, Matt Carpenter, who was a longtime Cardinal and most recently a Yankee. Michael Waka, also a longtime Cardinal and most recently with the Red Sox. Nelson Cruz and Xander Bogaerts. Those 4 guys are world-class guys, and they've come with a long track record of being involved with the community. In fact, Nelson Cruz won the Clemente Award, which goes to the one player across baseball that's most outstanding in the community. So we're lucky that we have, because we didn't have this in 2015. We had a lot of stars on the team, but they weren't guys that it was in their nature to get involved with the community, kind of had to pull them in, but we've got a really good clubhouse and a lot of guys getting involved in the community. I'll give away 4 more tickets. You have to give me the year and the number. The record for Padres regular season wins by Padres team. You can take a guess. There's no penalty if you're wrong. Number of wins by the Padres team in a season. What's the record and what year? 162 games in a season. Higher than that.
What did you say?
Who said that? 98 and 98. Yeah, that's right. We won 98 games in 1998. So, you know, Vegas and the analytics and everything has their projection for the Padres, but most projections have us winning somewhere in the 90s, maybe in the mid 90s. So that record could fall this year if we played our best and stay healthy. All right, 4 tickets for you two. Talk to me after.
Well, Tom, thanks so much for coming to speak to us, and especially thanks for bringing all those tickets. I think, you know, the guys were ready to ask some more questions to see if you had any more of those in your pockets. So, but thank you so much for being with us. Okay, one closing announcement before I ring the bell, and that is everybody's got their boxed water, and Marv really doesn't want to collect those up. So if you got your eyes set on one of those, please pick them up, take them home with you, and do what you do with boxed water. Right. Next week, we are at the Dell, and we will be hearing from the Port Commissioner, Frank, I think, Urtasun, Urtasun. Frank Urtasun is the Port Commissioner, and I'm sure that'll be a very interesting presentation. And just my invitation to you to sign up early rather than later, because Jamie does go get those that list of that number to the hotel sometimes with less notice than I get. So anyway, with that, go out, have a great Rotary week.